Okay, so imagine this. You're a squirrel mom way up high in a tree
Yeah.
with your babies all cozy in their nest. Seems pretty idyllic, right?
That's peaceful.
Yeah. But then picture having to pick up and move everyone like multiple times, and these little guys are still super tiny.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
That's the life of a North American red squirrel, and we're going to find out why they do this today.
I'm ready to dive in.
We're looking at a 2008 study from Kerr and Decamps. It was published in the Canadian Field Naturalist.
Now, that's a classic.
And scientists have been wondering about this, like relocating behavior, for years.
It's a real head scratcher. Like, why would you risk exposing those fragile babies by moving them around so much?
Right, you'd think staying put would be safer, but clearly there's more to the story.
Definitely.
So it's not just about finding a better view. What did scientists initially think was behind all these squirrel moving days?
Well, one early thought was parasites. I mean, think about it. You got a bunch of squirrely babies all snuggled up together.
Yeah, sounds like a recipe for a flea infestation.
Exactly. And there was even a study back in 2003 by Newhouse that showed how getting rid of parasites can help young animals grow and survive.
Makes sense.
Yeah, totally logical, right?
Totally. But Kerr and Camps were out observing squirrels in the Yukon, and something unbelievable happened. It really changed everything.
Oh, really? What happened?
So picture this. They're watching a squirrel nest. Just another day in the field.
Right. Just doing their thing.
Suddenly a weasel appears.
No way.
And get this, got a baby squirrel in its mouth.
Oh, no. That's so sad, but also kind of amazing to see.
Right, it's like being in the right place at the right time.
They're the wrong time for that little squirrel.
Exactly. Talk about a wildlife lottery, but not in a good way.
Yeah, poor little guy.
And weasels are notoriously stealthy. So actually seeing one grab a squirrel, that's incredibly rare.
Super rare. Like, you basically never see that.
So they watch this weasel run off with its lunch. But the story doesn't end there.
There's more.
A bit later, they found another dead baby squirrel by a different nest, and it looked like a weasel was the culprit again.
Wow. 2 weasel encounters in one day.
Yeah.
What are the chances?
I know, right? But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
This double weasel sighting was a total light bulb moment for the researchers.
I bet.
They started thinking, what if these moms are moving their babies specifically to avoid weasels?
Like a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek up in the trees?
Exactly, and it kind of makes you rethink those squirrel nests.
How so?
We tend to imagine them as these like impenetrable fortresses, but weasels are so tiny and agile.
Yeah, they can squeeze into some crazy tight spots.
So maybe those cute little nests are more like for temporary apartments?
It's a constant race against those sneaky weasels, and mom has to be one step ahead.
Right. This is starting to sound like a squirrel action movie.
Totally.
And there's even more evidence to support this predator defense idea.
Oh, really? Like what?
Remember J.T. Humphreys, the researcher working with Kerr into camps?
Yeah,
Well, he saw a mother squirrel chasing a weasel away from her midden. That's where she keeps all her food.
Oh, wow. So she's not just moving houses. She's actively defending her territory.
These moms are like tiny ninjas, always on guard.
That's amazing. I never would have thought about it like that.
It really makes you wonder what other dangers are lurking out there for squirrels and how they've learned to deal with them.
Yeah, they're like little survival experts.
Okay, so we've got these ninja moms protecting their babies from weasels. But what about those parasites we talked about earlier? Do they still play a role in all this?
It's a good question. You know, it's not like parasites just disappear because a weasel shows up.
Right.
This study was really focused on predation, but it doesn't mean those other theories are wrong. It's probably a mix of things, you know?
Like keeping those babies safe from all sorts of threats.
Exactly, from tiny fleas to bigger predators.
So it's like a multi-level security system for these squirrel families.
Exactly, and it highlights how complex animal behavior can be.
I know, right? We often underestimate those little creatures, but they're facing challenges we don't even think about.
Definitely, it makes those squirrels in the park look a lot more impressive.
Seriously. But how do scientists even figure this stuff out? Do they just like hang out in the woods and watch squirrels all day?
Well, field observations are definitely a big part of it, like those lucky weasel sightings.
Right.
But it's more than just watching. They use things like statistical analysis to look for patterns and figure out what's really going on.
So it's like detective work, but for squirrels.
Exactly. They're piecing together clues, testing different theories, trying to understand the secrets of the natural world.
I love that. Speaking of secrets, I've always wondered, how do those tiny squirrel moms even know when danger is near? Do they have some kind of super squirrel sense?
That's where things get really cool. Squirrels have a whole arsenal of defenses.
Oh, yeah.
Besides moving their nests, they also use alarm calls to warn each other about predators.
Makes sense.
And their amazing caching behavior where they hide their food all over the place. That actually helps them avoid predators, too.
Wait, how does hiding food protect them? I thought that was just for winter snacks.
It's for winter snacks and for outsmarting predators.
Clever.
When squirrels spread their food out, it makes it harder for a predator to find all of it.
Oh, that's smart.
So even if a weasel raids one stash, there are plenty more hidden away. It's like a squirrel savings account.
Okay, that's pretty brilliant. So it's not just about being fast and agile. It's about being smart and resourceful.
Exactly. And it all comes back to survival. The squirrels that are best at avoiding predators, finding food, protecting their young, those are the ones that pass their genes on to the next generation.
It's evolution in action.
Right.
This is making me look at squirrels in a whole new light.
Yeah.
They're not just cute little fluff balls anymore. They're survivors.
Yeah, definitely.
But back to those weasels for a second.
Oh.
Can you describe what they look like? Some listeners might not be familiar with these little hunters.
Sure. So imagine a long, slender body, kind of like a ferret with short legs and a pointy face. They're usually reddish-brown on top and white underneath, and they've got those sharp teeth, for catching prey.
It's definitely not the kind of creature you want to mess with.
Yeah.
It's like a tiny furry torpedo.
Exactly. But it's important to remember that weasels are an important part of the ecosystem, too.
Right.
They help keep rodent populations in check, which is good for everyone, including us.
It's all about balance in nature, but this whole weasel-squirrel dynamic is giving me serious nature documentary vibes.
And that's what makes this study so fascinating. It gives us a glimpse into the drama that's constantly unfolding in the natural world, even if we don't always see it. These squirrels and weasels, they're locked in this ancient battle, each one trying to outsmart the other.
Wow.
It's a story of survival adaptation and the power of evolution.
Okay, so we got ninja moms, secret squirrel defenses, a never-ending battle for survival. What's the big takeaway from all of this? Why should we care about these squirrels and their crazy lives?
Well, it's more than just squirrel gossip. This study shows us how much we still have to learn about the creatures we share our world with. We often underestimate their intelligence and the challenges they face.
It's true.
It's a reminder that there's so much wonder and complexity all around us, even in our own backyards.
So it's like a peek behind the curtain of the natural world.
Exactly. And it makes you realize how connected we all are. What happens to the squirrels affects the weasels, which affects the whole ecosystem. We're all part of this incredible web of life.
Wow, that's pretty profound. For a story about squirrels moving their babies, it's definitely making me appreciate those little guys a lot more.
I think that's a great takeaway. We can learn so much from observing the natural world and paying attention to those creatures we often take for granted.
So the next time I see a squirrel darting up a tree, I'll remember those ninja moms and their secret survival skills.
Me too. And who knows, maybe you'll even be lucky enough to catch a glimpse of a weasel on the prowl. Just be sure to keep your distance.
This whole conversation has been a wild ride. We've uncovered this incredible survival strategy of North American red squirrels, those brave moms moving their babies to protect them from weasels. But it leaves us with a big question, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It really makes you think, if those squirrels have evolved these strategies over centuries, what about those weasels?
Oh, right. They must have some tricks up their sleeves, too.
Exactly. It's like an arms race playing out in the forest. The squirrels get better at hiding, the weasels get better at hunting, and so on.
It's a never-ending battle.
Exactly. And that's what helps keep ecosystems in balance.
Okay, so we've uncovered this amazing survival strategy, talked about ninja moms and secret squirrel defenses. Is there anything else we should know about this study? What's the big picture here?
I think the biggest takeaway is that we should never underestimate the power of observation this whole discovery started, because those scientists were out there patiently watching those squirrels. Who knows what other mysteries are waiting to be unraveled if we just take the time to look closely.
Yeah, it's a good reminder to slow down and appreciate the world around us. You never know what you might find.
Exactly. And the study also shows how interconnected everything is in nature. Those squirrels, weasels, even the parasites, they all play a role in the ecosystem. It's a delicate balance.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a whole new level of respect for those squirrels running around my backyard.
Me too. They're not just cute little fluff balls anymore. They're survivors with a long history of outsmarting predators and adapting to their environment.
So the next time I see a squirrel, I'll be sure to give it a nod of appreciation for all its hard work. Thanks for taking us on this deep dive. It's been an eye-opening journey into the secret world of squirrels.
My pleasure. It's always exciting to share these amazing stories from the natural world.